Hi, my name's Ellie and I'm a medical writer. So at King's, I really enjoyed science, English, and art, but I knew I wanted to follow the science path. And after school, I went on to study biochemistry at the University of Sheffield. So at uni, I quickly realised that lab work and a career in research wasn't for me, but my course was really flexible and I was able to choose my own final project. And I decided to write a blog series on mental health. I've always enjoyed writing, and I found that writing about science was the most enjoyable part of my course. At the time, I assumed the only science writing jobs out there were things like journalist. I didn't know anything about medical communications or medcoms as it's called, but I knew I wanted to write. So after uni, I carried on writing science blogs, which probably no one read, but it looked good on my CV. And I also did some work experience writing articles for a science magazine. And then through that and a helpful tip from a family friend, I found out about medcoms and got myself a job. So my job, I'm a medical writer for an agency whose clients are the big pharma companies like Pfizer, GSK, etc. So they make the drugs, they do the clinical trials, and we write about them. So one of the things that I love most about my job is that it's so varied. Every day I'm doing something different, which works well for me because I can kind of get bored quite easily. So one day I can be looking through clinical trial data, making sense of it, and writing it up into a paper, which then gets published in a journal. The next day I can be designing a PowerPoint presentation for a doctor, setting up a video and a script for a website, or working with the animation team to create some augmented reality for a poster, which then gets presented at a congress. So for me, it's the perfect mix of science and creativity. I've also had the opportunity to travel to Barcelona to attend a large oncology congress, and that was really interesting. I think my one task for that was to stick up a few posters, and then I spent the rest of my time just wandering around and listening to talks. And I just felt really lucky that my company had paid for me to be there. So another great thing about my job is the flexibility. I've been working from home for the last year, like most people, but I don't plan on going back to the office in the future except for social reasons. All I need is my laptop and Wi-Fi, and I can pretty much work wherever. Which for me is really important for work-life balance. I used to hate my commute, and now my job gives me the freedom to buy a house wherever I want, and I can pretty much log on and log off whenever I want as well. As long as I'm doing my hours, they pretty much, they don't mind, like they're pretty flexible. So the flexibility of my job does have its downsides. It's definitely not your standard 9 to 5. And although rare, there have been times where I've been working till 10 p.m. to meet an urgent deadline. But when this does happen, I can usually take a really short day the day after and log off early. They're really good about letting us be flexible with our hours like that. Another challenge I found, which I'm sure comes with most jobs, is some clients not always being the most helpful. Some can be a bit grumpy, but whether you're on a call with them or you're just emailing them, you just have to remember that they're the client, they're paying you to work. So even if they're wrong, sometimes you just have to do what they say. So what advice would I give people to getting into the industry? For anyone who enjoys science but isn't sure about working in a lab or whether they want to be a doctor, I would recommend a career in medcoms. They'll pretty much hire someone with any science degree, so it's a really good option for a lot of science grads. And a great website to look at is firstmedcomsjob.com, which has loads of info about what a medcoms job is, and they also put on careers days where you can go and meet a load of agencies who are looking to hire people, and that's how I actually got my job. So you don't need a master's, you don't need a PhD. A lot of my colleagues do, but I don't have one. I think, how I got my job was showing I was interested in communicating science through my work experience. So yeah, if you're a scientist and you find you don't like lab work, don't worry, there are plenty of jobs out there for you.